We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable podcast. Happy Valentine's Day to our daters, lovers, sexy friends. I don't know. I'm trying really hard.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. We're so happy that we get to share this with you in your ears on Valentine's Day.
It's actually kind of rare for us to have an episode on Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah, like the exact episode. I mean, some of you might, if you're PST, maybe you're listening to this slightly before, but it's about to be Valentine's Day. You know, it's close enough.
Yeah, we're in the vicinity of Valentine's Day. And whatever that may mean for you, we can't ignore this holiday. It is here, and we're going to address it. You know, it's like having anxiety. You can't be like, I don't have anxiety. Same thing with Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day doesn't exist. Yes, it exists. Let's just acknowledge it.
Or if it does, you can always come back and listen to this a week from now. That's okay too. You do you. You take care of you. There were definitely years that I'm like, I'm just going to pretend Valentine's Day does not exist. That was definitely something that went through my head. I agree with you, though. You can't shut it out completely. I still feel like I have PTSD from like middle school when people would like come in the room with like,
with the roses.
Yeah, and everyone would get one, and I never got one. I never got one ever. It was so sad.
1 year I thought about sending myself one.
People definitely did that. People definitely did that. There was one girl I remember in high school, we were convinced she always sent herself them. She would get like the massive one. Like she would just get so many that it felt inauthentic, I guess. It didn't track.
I mean, seriously, it's just like, I definitely thought about sending myself some, but I didn't know if I could keep a straight face if my friends were like, who sent you that? And I'm like, anonymous, or a secret admirer.
I feel like nowadays you could just own it. You're like, self-love, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I hope people do that. Also, I hope they stop doing that in middle school.
Yeah.
Talk about trauma and exclusivity.
It's terrible. So there was 1 year that I didn't outright forget Valentine's Day, but I still wasn't in like a celebratory mode. But I remember I went to Whole Foods and I bought lobster. They had like lobster there, and I made myself a fancy ass dinner. And I'm like, this is how I'm doing Valentine's Day. And the best part is they rung me up for shrimp, which is like nothing.
Oh.
They put the wrong label on it instead. I didn't realize till I got home, but I was like, damn. That's a good deal.
That's a really good deal. You think they did it on purpose?
They were like, this sad girl, she just throw her a bone. Let her pay shrimp prices for lobster.
Maybe some people, there could be some people who have no idea. They were like, this is a really big shrimp.
But just like shrimp costs like what? Like nothing. And lobster is
compared to
at
lobster.
The top. It was amazing.
Well, I say that's a win for a Valentine's
Definitely.
Day.
I was like, I'm killing it this year.
Well, as much joking as we can do, we also know that some of you may really hate this holiday, especially if you're going through some stuff right now. So also we hope that this episode, resonates with you as well. Like, let's just make it a light holiday. It's nothing serious. And if you're going through kind of a rough patch right now, just know that there are millions of other people who are with you on that.
Yeah.
And you're not alone.
Yeah. In the back half of this episode, after we do a little Valentine's Q&A, we are going to re-air an episode that we did when we were on the podcast, Two Black Girls, One Rose. So we thought this was a fun one. There's a lot of laughter. It's very light. We talk about the pick-me mentality, and it's a good light one to ease the day for some people. So we thought this was a good approach.
I think so. It'll get your mind off of it or make you, laugh about the holiday.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And if nothing else, I mean, since Two Black Girls, One Rose, they're a podcast that talks all about reality TV. So you might hear some of those callbacks in the episode. But Love is Blind is also launching season, I forget what they're on, like six or
probably.
something. Yeah. On I think it's today on Valentine's Day, or it's like within the vicinity. So yeah, maybe that's a binge you need.
Yeah, celebrate their last season, because I cannot fathom them going any farther.
If it's anything like last season, it's not going to make it. Last season was bad. So yeah, if your love life is in shambles, look at someone else's that's even worse.
That's on national television. Wow. Yes. I mean, yes, there's so much to do on today, regardless of it being a holiday. You get to listen to us.
Yeah.
We get to have an episode like that's, this is entertaining. Let's just keep it fun. Yeah. We'll keep it light. We'll keep it fun.
And we will be back for season 18 in 2 weeks. So not next week, but the one after. So a lot of good stuff in store. We did start a little later than normal, but we've been really gearing up. And, I'm really proud of some of the interviews we've done so far. Just really trying to tackle the big conversations. And you put up recently a post on Instagram. So like we've been discussing is like, how do we raise the bar for like what dating culture can look like? So we're going to be diving into that a lot this season of what is this utopia? Like, we're all so sick of hearing about how modern dating sucks. Let's change the conversation starting at Dateable.
Yeah, let's start the movement.
Yes.
Get on the train.
Cool. So make sure to subscribe if you're not already, so you get that as soon as it launches.
We're starting so soon. Yeah, let's get into some questions.
Yeah, let's do it. So we got a lot of questions. Thank you for everyone that's submitted. We got these from Instagram. People just write in, so we take them from there too. So we tried to pick a few that captured the essence of what a lot of you are thinking. So the first question we got: I've been seeing someone for the last 2 months, but we didn't make Valentine's Day plans. Does this mean we have no future?
Yep, that sounds like putting power in the hands of someone else.
I thought you were going to say, yep, that sounds like you have no future.
And maybe that. Not to be harsh, but I am only saying this because I can definitely relate. I've been in a 2-month relationship before, right before Valentine's Day, and neither party says anything about Valentine's Day, and then you just ignore it. Like, oh, it's just another day. And then you never talk about it again. But of course, you as the person who remembered it being Valentine's Day, you're slowly dying inside. So instead of thinking, okay, what does this mean for our relationship? Address it head on. Yeah. I mean, by the time you listen to our answer, it's going to be Valentine's Day or past Valentine's Day. It's good to just acknowledge it with the person you're dating. Hey, happy Valentine's Day. We're just like, maybe a simple text, and then talk about it next time you're together. Like, do you think it would have been too much to hang out on Valentine's Day? I actually would have really liked to hang out with you. Wouldn't have had any extra meaning, but an extra day to hang out with you. Right?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And maybe this listener is listening the second this drops and they still have the opportunity.
I hope so.
You never know. But I agree, like Valentine's Day means different things to different people. There's also like questions of, is it too soon? Are we established enough? So while, yeah, it's not necessarily the best thing that happens, but it's just an opportunity to learn more. So how can you look at it that way? And, if you both kind of had this misunderstanding that you both thought it was maybe too soon to bring up, then maybe you can celebrate a belated Valentine's Day. There's always this weekend,
Hey.
right? It's not over yet. But I wouldn't assume the worst necessarily because you also didn't bring it up. So there's a two-way
Right.
street here. And yeah, it's an opportunity. While it might not be the answer you want, it's still better to learn that answer than to just continuously question, like, what does this mean? And are we doomed and all that? You got to just get out in the open.
It's a prime example of relationship chicken.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that we do everything in dating that is opposite of what we do in a relationship, but we're trying to get into relationships. So just think about, use that as a barometer for, okay, would I actually do this in a relationship? Would I ignore this holiday if we were in a relationship? Probably not. Would I approach this from a team mentality?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see Valentine's Day coming up. Did you want to get together, or should we cook, or
Yes.
should,
Yeah.
I would love to spend that day with you if you're up for it. Let's just remove the me versus you mentality, waiting for the other person to bring it up, and let's just get ahead of it. Say what you want to say and do what you want to do.
I'm glad you brought that up. I think especially as like hetero women, we've been told like we're not the one that's supposed to bring it up and they'll lose interest and my value will be diminished. All this bullshit that really doesn't mean anything. Like I remember I knew myself, like even my partner and I, this wasn't 2 months. This was close to a year because we met April before. But our first Valentine's Day, I knew like it would give me anxiety, just like wondering what was going to happen. So we just made a plan together and went on a vacation, like a trip together. Like it was like a weekend trip, not a big trip. But I think just putting it out there, like especially if you're the type that's going to get in your head wondering what it means, just put it out there. Who cares? Like it doesn't mean anything for your relationship. All it does is give you peace of mind and sanity. And to me, that's worth it.
Oh, so worth it. And imagine your partner is probably also wondering, are we going to do anything for Valentine's Day? If both people are sitting there just wondering, that is so unproductive. I mean, I think I've talked about this before. The guy I dated in New York, we had just been dating for 2 months, and he's like, do you want to get together next week? Would you rather hang out on the 13th, 14th, or 15th of February? He gave me those 3 choices without acknowledging Valentine's Day. And I was like, 13th. It's just stupid stuff like that. Like, why didn't I just acknowledge it? And then why didn't he just acknowledge it? Why do we just have to beat around the bush? Like, maybe on the day, maybe not. It's so dumb.
Something else I've noticed too is, and I'll speak for women because I've been there, is like it's like almost like this ill intent if they're not acting. Our relationship is doomed. They don't want to be with me. But I know from talking to our male listeners that they get caught up in like, is it too soon? Is this the right move? Just as much. But I remember before doing this podcast, like, I mean, it's easier because you always just think of yourself, right? So I like always thought like everything was happening to me. And I didn't realize like the other person is also questioning everything. And there's 2 humans here that have the same fears and anxieties. Like we just need to humanize each other a bit more.
Yeah. That's it. Great question, though. I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that way.
Okay, next one. Recently, I went through a brutal breakup. How do I get through this holiday without breaking down?
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. I think Valentine's Day is so pronounced after a breakup because you think about, well, I would have been doing this with the person I was with, but now here I am alone. This is why I think it's so important. Again, drive your own car, get in the steering wheel and think about what would make me happy. Julie, I love your story of mistaking the person ringing up lobster for shrimp. Like, can you do something for yourself that day? Truly treat yourself, do something you love to do, and then just be in awe of all the funny shit that could happen in one day. Maybe go to a neighborhood that you don't usually go to, or take yourself on a hike, or do something that's like fun, but also has potential for some storytelling. Because I can guarantee you, once you have a story, a memory of this day, it will erase the grieving that you're doing right now and the sadness that you would have if you were just to do nothing and sit at home alone. alone.
I agree 100% that is ideal scenario. I am bringing myself back to that time though, because I
Mm-hmm.
remember being in this exact position. And sometimes all you want to do is break down. And I think that's okay.
Mm,
Like, I don't think you need to be afraid of it. Like, if you can do what you just said you would have the best day of your life, power to you, amazing. And if you
mm,
can't, that's also okay. Just
yeah,
recognize where you're at. It's one day. If it's going to make you feel better, to hold up, pretend the day doesn't exist, let the tears out. That's okay. Sometimes you just need to get it
mm,
out. And then tomorrow's a new day. So I think you need to honor
fair,
yourself ultimately and don't have shame either way. Feel like what's
fair.
natural to you, right?
It's a very good point. And maybe sometimes you build up to this day so much that when the day actually comes, you'll probably think, oh, this isn't that bad.
Right.
Yeah, I can survive this
Yeah,
day.
maybe you're listening to us right this minute as a distraction, and that's okay. Binge on Dateable, you know?
Yeah. But that's the point. I love what you said. Honor yourself,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you need this day. And if it means crying your eyes out, Godspeed. Go do it.
I just remember, like, there's so much pressure to be like, oh, well, I'll do Valentine's Day or I'll go out and
Yeah.
try to meet someone.
I
And it's just
know.
like, I remember just not being up to that. And you almost feel like bad that you can't rally. So I don't want people to feel bad, is what I'm trying to say. Is it's one day of your life. Who cares?
I've never had a good Galentine's Day. I will tell you, it's always like we get together, we're like, yeah, Galentine's Day, love being single. And it's sad. It's seriously just a bunch of sad eyes in one room. Just everyone just be like, why are we doing this? So I actually would much rather prefer to hang out with, like,
Yeah.
one single
Yeah.
girlfriend than like a shit ton of sad single girlfriends. No.
Well, I think where it comes from, it's like you're trying to overcompensate so hard because like you
Yes.
are
Yes.
sad, right? If you are
Yes.
genuinely just like in a good place, like go out with your friends, have a blast. It's one of these
Yes.
like, oh well, I feel like I have to do it, so I'm gonna do it. That's when it's sad.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, next question. I have been with my partner for 3 years now. The first 2 years, he stepped up with big V-Day plans. But this year, he hasn't shared anything yet. Is he getting too comfortable that he feels like he no longer needs to impress me?
Ugh. I get so tired for the person who's always planning Valentine's Day. I am so tired for that person. And it just shows that you like it's a joint effort. Valentine's Day should not be about one person initiating and making all the plans. Can you plan jointly? And as you stay together longer and longer in a relationship, you can't always expect the other person to plan. So think of a more sustainable way to do Valentine's Day, which is just make it a joint effort.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily means that they've gotten too comfortable, they're not impressing. I think you've just entered a different stage of your relationship. We hear this all the time that as the years go on, Valentine's Day isn't really as much of a thing. That being said, if
Yeah.
it's really important to you, tell your partner that. Like tell them that you still want to do
Mm-hmm.
something. You want it to be the day every year that acknowledge and make sure that you're showing each other love. Like have that conversation. I think it means different things to
Yes.
different people. So people can't be mind readers. Even 3 years in, people
No.
can't be mind readers. So just have that conversation or alternate. Maybe you take turns. Maybe one year you plan, they plan. If you're really doing life together, you have a lot of Valentine's days left.
Yeah. And the moral of the story is just have an open line of
Yeah.
communication about it. Like we suffer so much because we have all these
Yes.
expectations that we don't verbalize and we assume and we just then get disappointed.
Mhm.
Most of our relationships are set up for disappointment. I truly believe that if you don't open your line of communication, that's what you're going to get.
Yep. Okay. Very last question we have.
Oh, another one. Okay.
I went on a great first date the week before Valentine's Day. We talked about hanging out again, but we haven't yet. Should I send her flowers or give some other type of gift?
That's a really thoughtful way to acknowledge someone you're newly dating. I think in terms of gifting, this is what I've recently learned is that you got to gift without the expectation of
Yeah.
receiving. So if it truly makes you happy to give something to this person, flowers, candy, text message, a card, whatnot, Do not expect anything in return. Just know that you are happy to give.
I'm so mixed on this one because I do think it's like the thought is there, but gifts mean so many different things to different people and it can be overpowering. Like I remember talking to someone that would bring like his first date's candles and it just like backfired because it felt weird, right? So I would say like go with the thoughtful, like more definitely send a text message. That's like a no-brainer. You could have a card. That could be a good one, but like something that's maybe a little less effort than you would do if you were together because you really don't know this person after one date. And I think that's where I would go. But again, do what's authentic to you. I don't want to like hold people back. If they feel really compelled to do something, just know that not everyone views gifts the same. So in this circumstance, maybe less is more. But something that still acknowledges is nice.
There was one year I remember I went on one great date with someone the week before Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, he sent me a really sweet text message.
Yeah.
Had a really great time last week. Just wishing you a happy Valentine's Day and looking forward to seeing you again next week.
I feel like that's enough.
So great. It was more than enough. Yeah. It was just a little thoughtful text.
Yeah. So maybe just do that. Then you don't have to overthink it. It really can't backfire either, sending a text like that.
It really can. But if it's like, if it's killing you not to send this person flowers, then do it. Just do it.
And, you know, if it really doesn't work out because you sent them a text or, you know, overextended yourself, then it probably isn't the right person for you anyways.
Oh, yeah. If you scare them away because you sent them flowers, then it's not the right person. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that was a sampling of our questions. Like I mentioned, we got a lot more, but this was a good different stages of relationships. Tried to cherry pick them that way. So hopefully this was relatable to you. And wherever you're at, you can always binge Love is Blind. That's the lesson of the story.
Oh, I know. We're single-handedly giving them viewership right now.
Or Dateable, one of the two.
Yeah. Let's go to Dateable. Let's say Dateable.
Okay. Well, before we go into it with the episode that we have announcements at Dateable Podcast, that's where you can find us, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Big Dateable Energy. We're everywhere. So make sure to follow along outside of the pod as well. And if you haven't yet, leave us a rating and review. We are getting close to that 1K. Every single one helps. Don't you want to do it just so we don't ever talk about this again? Yeah, that'd be great. So
and then we're going to have a new milestone, 2K. We're overachievers.
We can't reveal that yet, Yue.
Okay, fine.
It's okay. You're helping out, but honestly, it means so much. This is what keeps the show going. This is what helps us get great guests, makes us reputable, all the stuff that actually ends up benefiting you ultimately. So thank you in advance for everyone that's done it. And if you haven't yet, we know it's annoying. No one likes to write reviews. It can be really fast. You can just say FV Day. That's all you can say if you want. Or you can say, I love Valentine's Day. That's enough. Either way.
I had this really fun discussion with someone about reviews. And we were saying like reviews are basically your way of paying it forward. You want to give a gift to someone and tell them what to expect from this thing, this episode, this restaurant without them actually trying it. So think about it. You are adding more to your good karma pool by writing us a review so that you can help other daters who could use this podcast at this exact moment right now.
And that helps you too, because the more dateable people that are fueled into the dating ecosystem only means maybe a better shot of finding someone emotionally available and open for relationships. So it's a beautiful gift.
Gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, if you're like our person that wrote in about the flowers text message, just leave the gift here. That's all you need to do.
Just send them an episode of Dateable. That's enough. That's a gift in itself.
Awesome. Okay, well, before we get into it, let's hear a message from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Factor. If you're anything like me, it's sometimes hard to stay motivated by your New Year's resolutions. But if healthy eating is on your list, Factor makes it easy. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service that delivers chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals straight to your door. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success for the new year. In addition to the ready-made meals, I've been really digging their breakfast items, smoothies, cold-pressed juices, veggie sides, and energy bites, as they keep me going when the week gets super busy and it's all too easy to eat poorly. One of my New Year's resolutions has been to reduce takeout. Factor is so much cheaper and faster, so it's helped me fill that void because these restaurant quality meals are ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. So if you want more time for yourself, head to factormeals.com/dateable50 and use code dateable50 to get 50% off. That's code dateable50 at factormeals.com/dateable50 to get 50% off. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. A common misperception about relationships is that they have to be easy to be right. But sometimes the best ones happen when both people put in the work to make them great. Therapy can be a place to work through the challenges you face in all your relationships, whether with friends, work, your significant other, or anyone. I know for me, going to therapy individually and then also with my partner was a game changer. It really helped put into words a lot of the things that I've been feeling and work things out real time with a third party. It also helped me become a better listener and state my needs. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Become your own soulmate, whether you're looking for one or not. Visit betterhelp.com/dateable today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dateable. Okay, here's us on Two Black Girls, One Rose.
For today's Bachelor in Paradise recap, we've invited some special guests to help us make sense of this pick-me mentality that we are seeing a lot this season that has been frustrating the hell out of us. Just watching these beautiful young ladies on the beach just like struggling with this. So please welcome to the show the hosts of the Dateable podcast, a podcast digging into why we date the way we do, talking to real daters and experts to bring understanding to modern dating, Julie and Yue. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. We have so much pent up frustration to express.
Oh God. Well, you're in the right place then. Let's try and make sense of this, what we're watching. So from your perspective, you guys talk a lot to real daters, you guys talk a lot to experts on your podcast. What is this pick me girl? Can you just take us back, even define what is a pick me girl? What are we seeing here on this paradise?
She is Cat. It's the feeling of I want to be with someone who just picks me, and I want to I don't know how I feel about this person, but what really matters is that they like me back. And the minute that they show less interest in me, or they're showing that they're not really picking me, I'm out. I'm out the door. No, I need to be with someone who picks me. And it's a wild kind of mentality, because on one hand, you feel like you're empowered somehow. She comes off like she's very empowered on the show. Yeah, I need someone who's going to say hell yeah to me. But on the other hand, she doesn't realize she's relinquishing her control to someone else. She hasn't even expressed her own interest in these men. And all of a sudden she wants someone because she, wants them to pick her.
What is inherently wrong with wanting somebody to pick you?
It comes down to that you're getting out of the choosing side. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting someone to pick you. We all want to be chosen, right?
Right.
But when it becomes that's at the forefront, and you don't even take a step back to say, do I like this person? I just want to move forward. I don't care who the person is, in theory. And I mean, clearly Bachelor in Paradise, if they don't get chosen, they're leaving. So that's the most extreme scenario. But in dating too, we see this all the time. It's I need to get to the third date. There's this arbitrary marker and milestone that it's almost I don't even care if I like this person. I'm just proving to myself that I can do it. That's when it becomes a problem.
Okay. So it's the rat race. Of pick me.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's how you guys would describe the kind of pick me mentality, is racing towards whatever finish line you set, whether it's the third date or boyfriend or marriage or whatever. That's how you guys would describe it.
Yeah, it's like you lose track of what's important.
Mhm.
And yeah, like again, like you of course want to choose someone that chooses you. Like that's inevitable. That's like at the baseline.
Right.
But you're like taking yourself out of this choosing mentality because you're not saying like, if this person isn't right for me, I'm going to step away. You're just fully moving ahead because you just want to get chosen so much.
It's the pageant mentality.
Yeah.
You know, it's the pick me to be the winner. I want to win this. But it's like, what are you winning?
Yeah.
Do you think it has anything to do with women's, because the way that I've known pick me girls growing up through college and everything is a girl who is wanting to look like the best type of wife in a very like almost 1950s era way of kind of portraying herself, right? A pick me girl is a girl who gets on one of these microphones and says that you should not dance to Sexy Red. That's what I've known a pick me girl as. Like, you know, she's modest. She is smart. She works, but not too hard. She cooks really well. She cleans. She picks up the kids. That's how I've always like known a pick me girl. But in you guys' experience on your podcast, you guys don't know.
I don't think it's limited to just that. Like it could be that. I don't even think it's limited to just women. I think it's everyone. Like I think
you think men have it too. Really,
absolutely, for sure.
Absolutely.
Wow,
we all have a little pick me in all of us.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Like, what's wrong with wanting to be chosen? You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like Julie said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be chosen. It's like, do you lose yourself in the process? Are you just trying to get to the next milestone without actually checking in with yourself to see if you like this person or not? This is what we see in app culture dating. It's like, I want as many matches as possible. I want all these conversations to turn into dates. And then you ask, like, how many of the thousands of people you're talking to, how many do you actually want to go on a date with? Like, people don't go inward. They're like very much about that external validation.
I think, Justine, though, there is something about what you mentioned. It's like this girl, this is the stereotypical pick me girl. It's like, I'm not like the other women. I'm different kind of thing. And I think that's the mentality that, like, if you look up on like pick me in Urban Dictionary, I think that's the definition you get.
That's the only one I know. Yeah.
But I really do think it extends way deeper and further than that.
That's crazy. And I guess on obviously in a situation where you literally have to get chosen to stay on the show and do whatever you need to do. But I think that's why watching Bachelor in Paradise this season has been so frustrating, because we have Rachel and Kat. Rachel, former Bachelorette. This is absurd. Yeah, she is out here just shucking and jiving for these roses for whoever, and just relinquishing their power completely. Kat, with these girl boss platitudes that she spits out, are
her confessionals
so strange to me. They are so odd. But how is it that these two women who, I mean, Rachel's not claiming as much of like, I'm a former Bachelorette, what the hell are y'all doing? But that's what we think watching it. And then Kat, who is claiming very much like girl boss energy. She definitely seems like, I'm a boss bitch. She definitely would wear the t-shirt, right? How is it that they are giving up their power immediately when they get to this beach? Is it just the game of it all? Or do you think they really do this in their real life?
If you think about it, what Bachelor in Paradise simulates is actual dating. But the only difference is you see what your person, who else they're dating.
The competition.
You see it,
right?
But in real life, this happens. You have a great date with someone, and the next day they could go on a great date with someone else.
Right.
It's just in real life, we don't see that. So we don't get as, I'm going to use the word insecure, because I would be insecure if I saw someone I had a great connection with go on a great date with someone else. Sure. So I think this show should be renamed Insecurity Paradise, because it literally brings up all of your insecurities. And I think for these powerful, confident, or seemingly confident women, you are going to become insecure when all of your insecurities are basically excavated in front of you. Like, here's everything that's going to make you insecure, and it's on national television.
But even in real life, though, we see this all the time, that the most powerful, like, boss women, it completely goes to the wayside in dating. Like, who you are in like work, in that environment, is not necessarily reflective of who you are in dating. It could be, but there's so many people that, like, it's always a shock to me, like, when I hear this person, like, bending over backwards and doing whatever they can to get liked, and I'm like, that is not the person I know. Like, why are they doing this in dating? But for whatever reason, like, dating, there's a lot that's personal about it. It's like, at the core of it, like, we're asking someone to choose us and to love us,
to like us as we are.
Yeah, and it's like, if you get rejected, of course that's gonna sting. There's no way around that fully. But that being said, like, you don't want to just fall into this mentality that you just want anyone and everyone to pick you.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this tied at all to, like, maturity? Like, is this something that we, with life experience, kind of age out of? Is it because the women we see on Paradise are so young? Or is this something that
like,
kind
no.
of... Or are we all struggling with this even still in our 30s? Like... Sometimes I wonder when I watch Paradise, because they're a lot younger than us, that I'm like, is it a maturity thing, or, you know, what do you guys think?
I sure hope so, but I definitely feel just even an ounce of this popping up in me sometimes. You know, I think just when a guy says, "Oh, I haven't been in a relationship in years, and you know, you make me feel something different," like that somehow makes me feel like I'm going to fall in love with this person, even though I don't even know how I feel about this person yet. It's still that, like, oh, I'm different. He's picked me. He's picked me to be in a relationship with. So I still feel some of that coming up. But I do know that with age, I am aging out of the whole, like, I don't even want to be in the game. Like, I don't want to be in the lineup. You know, if it were me on Bachelor in Paradise, I'm like, I'm out. Day 2. Bye, guys. Like, no need to pick me. I'm leaving here. Yeah, just give me my margarita. I'm going.
I mean, I think it really comes down to, have you done the self-work too? Like, if you don't, you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, like, you can be whatever age and it doesn't change. I think the part that's, like, the benefit of age is that you have that opportunity to learn. Like, I definitely remember, like, very much in my 20s, like, trying to, like, mold myself into the type of person that I was dating so they could like pick me. And then I got to a point that I'm like, this is not what I want in life. And I want to be with someone that likes me for who I am. And who cares if I go on 100 dates? I only need one person if I'm monogamous. But that takes time to get there. And not
that's a good point. That reminds me, I've shared on the podcast, my first date with my husband, my attitude when I walked in was very... I would say at that point in dating, I was so jaded. I was like, here I go again. I'm on another first date. Like, here we fucking go. And I had just like broken things off with the last guy the week before. And my energy was very much like, I'm Natasha. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Okay, that's cool.
Job
what next?
Very
job interview. And he confirmed it too. He was like, you were very like just direct. Like, we got to get through it. But I think it was a bit of life experience. It was years and years of dating. It was like a tiredness of like, here I am again. And it was very much maybe it didn't come off the greatest, but it was a confidence where it was like, I know I'm the shit.
Yeah.
You can choose me or not, but I'm definitely here to choose you. And I think that came with being burned so many times and kind of developing a harder exterior, but also just like a confidence, like, you know, I am the shit. So are you up to par or not?
That is so important for people to hear. And I need to remind myself of that, Natasha. The difference in how you were speaking there than the people on Bachelor in Paradise is that you are also actively choosing that person and letting them know. I think what happens on the show and in real life dating is that we want to be chosen, but we don't let the other person know that we're choosing them too. And that's why they go on, they accept the date cards and they explore other connections, because they're also like, well, I don't know who, you haven't chosen me, so I'm going to go find someone too, right? So that's important to be like, I'm on this date with you because I choose to be here with you and I choose to spend time with you.
Yeah, that gets lost real easy in dating. You forget it real quick.
My heart did go out to Olivia though when I was watching.
Yes.
So just like, I feel like that was like me in my 20s, and I'm like, ugh, like that. Like,
To me, though, and I don't know if you guys also felt this way, to me, she looked like the most secure because she was so open with her feelings. She was like, listen, I liked you.
Yes.
So
and
what's going on here? I liked you. I said I was going to be behind the scenes waiting for you. She was honest the whole time. All these other girls are incredibly dishonest with the way that they move. And I think that is a huge quality of being insecure, I think.
I did like that she was transparent. I think that is really important, and having the confidence to be like, I'm here for you. I want to be with you. Where I think she came off as maybe pick me a little is that I'll wait for you. And granted, I understand like she can't leave the island.
Like, where's she gonna go?
She doesn't want to leave, but like this, like, I'm here, I'm waiting. Like you, like, you know, like it's this mentality, and we see this with dating too. It's like, you have to know too when to pull the cord. When someone is like clearly dating around or doesn't want to be with you, just like waiting for them is a recipe for failure.
Yeah, I think she is. The sad part is she went through this already in the beginning of the season.
That's right.
Right? And
Will.
with Will. And so then now she's like experiencing it again. And it's not a great feeling. But I also understand. She's like, yes, I do like you, but I want to shake her and be like, isn't this giving you some information about John Henry? That's not that great. Like the fact that any girl could come in and just like be really aggressive with him, and he's like, okay, sure. I would hope that in her eyes it makes him less attractive, right? And then that she can move on. But I also understand that she's like, she's been through it already, so it's got to be tough.
Yeah, she knows a lot more about Kat than she does about John Henry.
That is so true.
Well, that's another piece too. It's like the focus is all off. Like it's all about her and like how she's this terrible person, and maybe she is, but like who cares? Like you're not dating that person,
right? You're not dating that.
Yeah. Right? Yes. And he just has like this hall pass. Like he can do no wrong. And I think people, and this is in dating too, like outside of reality TV, it's like people treat you how you allow them to treat you.
True.
So like she lets him treat her like a doormat. And that's what he did. He found someone that like felt more challenging to him. And he was like, oh, this person's going to be here whether I choose them or not. So I might as well like see who else is out there.
I don't even think he's that. I don't even think he thinks that way. I think he's just a blob.
Yeah, I don't think...
He is literally just a blob on the island, and like anybody can just mold him into whatever they want him to be. He has like, to me, he has no conviction, no personality whatsoever. He's just like, he's just a good-looking blob on the island. But I'm curious what you all three think of this. This happens every season on Bachelor in Paradise. It's like you almost need to date around to have a point of comparison. And then some of them do go back to their original person. Yeah. Like you almost need to have that experience first to know that this connection is real. I don't know if you all believe that too, like in real life dating.
Ooh, that's a great question. Because I do have friends who have gotten with their like first love ever in life. They're settled down, they sit down, they're done. They're like, I'm ready. I'm done. It's over. Even my mom has friends who have been married 30, 40 years. First boyfriend out of 6th grade. And that's who they got with. I think, though, it depends on your upbringing and where you're from. Like, I'll just say from an all-girls school, growing up in an all-girls school perspective, I could never have done that. Just because I didn't know enough about me around men to like trust that decision was smart. That I could be like, oh yeah, the first guy in college, I'll just go with him. I did not trust myself enough for that. But I think it just depends on your upbringing, I would say.
It also goes back to the fact that like in real life dating, you're not seeing this, right? So like this is normal to like date around, and you can't really fault someone for doing this. Like my partner, like when we first met, he like said that he went on another date like right after me. And was like made it so much more clear, like our connection because of the contrast too. And I can't be upset about that. It's like in early dating, like the first time you meet someone, of course you're going to be dating other people. Like that's so standard this time, like this day and age. But here it feels like they are doing something wrong and they need to be like instantly committed.
Yeah, I agree, Julie. I think there's nothing wrong with learning. You're really just kind of learning through each date. And I think your experience with your partner is very common, and that next person just proved to them even more that, oh no, I connect with that girl more. But how could they have known that if they didn't have a point of comparison? So yeah, I definitely don't see anything wrong.
Should I tell this story?
Yes, you should.
If you're questioning it, then we want to
Go for it.
I am.
Answer is yes.
Natasha, this has to do with you. So
Oh, damn, okay.
famously on Natasha's third date with Nate on New Year's. And Nate at one point was like, just me and Natasha had gone to the bathroom or something, and we were talking, and he was like, oh yeah, I listened to your podcast. I was like, really? That's crazy. He was like, yeah, I just heard that she broke it off with some other guy. And I was like, yeah, she did. She's out here a hot commodity, okay? And Natasha had on a snakeskin tank top dress. She was all tight and cute. I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, she did. And I think it almost kind of like not helps, but I think to speak to kind of what Julie was saying, it kind of helps that you're like, it's a signal that you're attractive to others. And so people like to see it maybe. But that just reminded me of that story.
Yeah, I know.
That is pretty funny. I know. It's like the things you say on your podcast.
Yeah.
I know. Comes back later.
Listen to this.
You're right. Oh, you tuned in.
Job. Nobody's listening.
Who's hearing this right now?
Oh, God. Yeah, I think it's what was I gonna say? I think on Paradise, I think the issue is they're doing it in front of each other. But I agree, Julie, this is dating. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of this. It's just here there's a competition to it. You're doing it in front of everyone. Like, you know, if Nate had saw me with that guy before, how different he might have felt about me in the moment. He's like, oh, she's a hot commodity. I'm down. But it might have been like, she's not for me. You know, so that's the difference with Paradise is there. You know, you don't see this.
Like you know your partner's been with other people in the past.
Right, you know.
Right.
There's a difference
in theory.
Knowing and seeing it. You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
I think the real problem too is like, again, that you have to pick someone on the show, right? Like that is the core of it. Like if you were dating and you realize someone else was dating around all these other people, like you can say, okay, I don't want to be in that situation. I want to go find someone else that's not going to be doing that. But here, it's like you can't, one, walk away, and then two, everyone else is doing that too. So it's just like set up for that perpetual feeling of, you know, everyone is looking for what's better and wants to be chosen.
Yeah.
Let's hold that thought for a quick message. February is the month of love, so why not show some love to your skin? Most skincare routines only deliver superficial results, but thanks to today's sponsor, OneSkin, you get scientifically proven treatment that improves the appearance and health of your skin at the cellular level. The secret? OneSkin's proprietary OS1 peptide. It's the first ingredient scientifically proven to reduce the buildup of senescent cells, those notorious zombie cells that contribute to skin aging. Fewer zombie cells mean healthier, younger looking skin with fewer lines and wrinkles, reducing age spots and a stronger natural barrier, something that's especially important this time of year. I'm obsessed with their topical eye supplement. I loved how smooth the cream felt and the calming feeling when I put it on. I didn't know this before, but the skin around your eyes has been shown to age faster than the rest of your skin. So as someone who just hit 40, I'm definitely going to be adding this to my skincare routine. Because after all, your skin does so much for you. Return the favor with OneSkin. For a limited time, our listeners will get an exclusive 15% off their first OneSkin purchase using the code Dateable when you check out at oneskin.co. That's DATEABLE, Dateable, when you check out at oneskin.co. Invest in the health and longevity of your skin with OneSkin.
Another question I had, which we see a lot on not even just Paradise, but just in The Bachelor in general, is sometimes you see like a very clear personality mismatch. We even see it with John Henry and Kat. Like they seem like totally different people.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious. Like this is just a mismatch. I think last episode too, Tanner broke up with Kat and said, our personalities are just very different. On The Bachelor, you see it a lot, but then you see girls sticking it out for many reasons. They probably want to, make it to paradise. They want to get social media fame or whatever. When there's clearly no connection. On Golden Bachelor, which was really interesting, we saw one of the women, Nancy, she left on her own accord because she's like, you don't really, not that you don't like me, but I'm clearly not in your top. So she kind of took that power and was like, I'm just going to leave. When we see, I guess if I relate it back to dating in real life, when there's like a very clear personality mismatch, but you see your friend or whoever just like still trying to make it work, what is that too? Like, why is it just, again, the pick me thing is still blinding us and we just want to be chosen? Or when you see it so clearly obvious, but you still try to like chip away and make this thing work? What is that?
One of the great things that we age out of, thank goodness. I really think you age out of this. But Kat, again, great example. If you watch her in earlier episodes of the season, she's a completely different Kat. Even the women were like, whoa, Kat's different. She's cool. She's nice. Because she was presenting herself earlier on like, I'm different. I'm so like mature. And then her true personality comes out once she's tested. Her ego's tested. Her pride is tested. Yeah, I think this happens in dating as well. When you're still haven't done the self-work, you mold yourself to the person you're seeing to impress them or to be on the same level, to be a personality match. And eventually, when your insecurities come out, that's when your true colors come out, and that's when it becomes a mismatch. And as a friend who's watching this happen, you just have to like sit back and be like, I know this is not going to work out. There's nothing you can say or do, but that is what happens. It's like people are chameleons in dating, and the
shape shifting.
Exactly, just to impress the person they're dating. Yeah, I think it like I 100% agree with what Yue said. I think there's so many reasons why people stay in these. Like it's just like it's so deep where this comes from. A big part of it though is just like scarcity mindset, and like maybe they have like what's good on paper, and you're the type of person you think you should end up with, right? So you still hold on to it, even though deep down you know like this isn't really what I want to spend my life with, and like we're not going to really work. So it's like the focus on the wrong things is a big part of it too. Yeah, but just like the ability to choose. Like I think the example you brought up, Natasha, in Golden Bachelor. Like the fact that she chose herself, and I'm not going to wait around for this person where like clearly I'm not the one that's being chosen. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier of like, yeah, you still want to be chosen by someone. It's not like Pick Me just like gets rid of that completely. Right. She realized like that she wasn't in the top running because they weren't the right fit. And by doing that, she was choosing herself to exit.
That's interesting because if anyone has a scarcity mindset, you'd think it'd be like a 71-year-old.
Right.
I think though that's the point though, Justine. Is that you hear the scarcity mindset from everyone. It's truly a mindset.
Everyone.
Truly a mindset.
Yeah. It's a mindset.
Like that. Like you can think there's so many better people out there for you, no matter what your age or whatever's going for you.
Yeah.
This is why Bachelor in Paradise is so brilliant, because it does somehow mirror reality. It's the you get on the island and you see everyone paired off, and that's like kind of in reality too. You're like, oh, everyone's in a
dating.
couple now. Everyone's taken. All the good ones are taken, and then you never know who's going to come down those stairs. And that's in real life too. You never know who's around the corner who could make you feel something again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good parallel.
True. I know. I not thought of paradise in that way, but it's so true.
Me either. The only people left in this world are these people that are in front of you. And
Right.
You're like, oh, they're all paired off. Great. I'm gonna die alone on this island. And then it's like, ooh, who just came down the stairs?
Right.
Dating apps is like the funniest thing to me because it's like this abundance of choice gets in our way, that there are too many options, yet we also feel like there's no options
Yes.
at the same
Nobody.
time.
Yeah.
And I don't understand like how that works. Like the
How?
mindset of that.
Yeah, I feel like society and people who maybe didn't date online previously probably still feel like it's a really big scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
And me and my friends talk about this a lot when we get with our partners and then our parents like them more than us because they're just like, hold on for dear life. He went to college. Hold on to him. Hold on to that man. He's good. Hold on to him. Like I used to get that all the time with this guy, Julie, that when you were talking, it reminded me of a lot. He's like engineer, blah, blah, masters, He was like awful, right? I ended up like cursing him the fuck out. He was awful.
Good
Oh
on
my God, me and
paper.
Natasha met that day that he called me. Wow.
Wait, when?
Anyway, remember that day that we met at McClune's Boathouse and he called me and you were like, why is he calling you? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to light him up when I get home. And I sure did.
I remember.
But yeah, I think a lot of people, especially like our moms, aunties, etc., they're still in that. Like, there's only so many men left.
So true.
Especially men. Too. Like, there's this feeling of like there's no one good out there. We hear that.
There's
all
no one
the
good.
time.
Yeah. There's no one good.
And like we actually had a dating coach on our podcast, Evan Mark Katz. I don't know if you've heard of him. He was saying how like for whatever reason, like if you go to the mall, like the reality is like only 10% of the people like you're probably gonna like find attractive and want to like potentially date. But on dating apps, like the odds are probably the same. Yet for whatever reason, we think like everyone should
Like
be the perfect
100%.
match for us. Yeah, it's like they're given to us on a silver platter. Then we get like discouraged when we don't see people that we think are like attractive or good for us to date. But that's like not reflective of the real world at all.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just not true. It's just
It's not
true.
Amazon. Like, it's not going to be like, you know what I mean? It's not going to show you your best fit for what you're searched. Like, it's just showing people in your area.
Yeah. Like 10% of people, though, is a lot of freaking people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh
True.
my gosh. Okay, so I just want to know for our last question, tips for real daters on how to not fall into the pick-me mentality. If you guys have any. I mean, you guys dropped some gems today. I'm not sure if you have any extras.
Closing thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, just taking a page out of Golden Bachelor, it's like, it's not, people think I'm either going to be single or I need to be with this person who I went on a date with. Like, it's one or the other. But you also have a third choice, which is being alone. Being alone and being single are different. Would I rather be alone with myself than be with this person? I think that's like the ultimate question we need to answer after a date. Are you choosing this person over yourself, or are you choosing yourself over this person? And I can tell you, like 90% of the dates I've been on, if I were to look back and really ask myself that question, I would have just rather been with myself than with them. But when you're in that pick me mentality, you're like, no, there's still an opportunity. There's a chance. Please pick me.
It's
what's some of
yourself,
Oh, sorry, Julie, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think the other piece too, it's like it's picking yourself first and foremost, but also if you're there's like always an opportunity cost of being with the wrong person too. We forget that. Like if we say that we're gonna be with, X person that looks good on paper but treats you like shit, and they're not like the type of person you want to end up with, what about all the other people you could be meeting in that time? Like you can't find the right person if you're with the wrong person. There's no way.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think at the forefront, it needs to be like, do I like this person? Like that needs to be the question.
Yeah,
that's really it.
Plain and
that's
simple.
really it. Yeah, because the reason they're treating you bad is because they don't like you.
Right.
Yes.
It's like,
like at a
like
baseline, they don't
being
like
treated this way. No.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate what you said, Yue. Just the thought of like being alone, being single, sitting with yourself, not being in a relationship, like that is a viable possibility. That could be a very happy, like great possibility. Yeah. And I think we often think of it as like, no, like there's just not enough conversation around that being a possibility and a choice, and that you can be happy in that. And I'm not saying you're choosing that to die alone forever. You could still want the desire to be with somebody else or to be with somebody. But there could be a lot of possibility and health and happiness in just choosing to be alone as well.
Yeah. And Julie and I talk about this a lot. Like, we need to stop thinking about single as a layover to relationships. Single is also a state of being, just like relationships are a state of being. It's not a passing phase. Like every place you're at in life, you're meant to be there. So if you're single, it's not like, oh, I'm single, but I'm trying to change my status. It's like, enjoy being single. There's so many privileges to being single because you're not going to be single forever. And then, really you take advantage of that time.
Well, we don't, it's like a stage of life too. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to be single forever. Like, that is a big piece that we forget. It's like, we think this is like the last man on earth when we're like on a date. And it's like, no, if you pass on this person, even if you're alone for a little, like, you'll find someone else eventually. It's
temporary.
If that's what you want.
It's all temporary.
If that's what you want.
Right. Wow. Well, Julie and Yue, this was great. You dropped a lot of gems. You helped us think of paradise a little differently as well.
Yes, thank you, Yue. That was great.
Seriously. Thank you so much for coming on. Please tell our listeners where they can find you, what's happening over on Dateable. All the things.
We have all the things. So we are on all the podcasting platforms. You can find us on our website, dateablepodcast.com. You can find us through social media at Dateable Podcast is our handle. And we also do a weekly brunch talk, which we answer people's burning dating questions. So they can send in questions and we'll answer them in the order that they come in. Or if they leave us a rating and review, we push the questions up to the top of the queue and answer them right away.
Nice. Love that. You guys check out Dateable, and we hope to have you guys back maybe in another episode, another future. Help us make sense of some other stuff that comes up on our shows.
Maybe Love is Blind. That'd be a good one.
Oh, yeah. We're here for that.
Another
like
messy shit show.
Episode.
Right. That's a snippet of this week's episode.
For the full episode and bonus episodes and videos, join our amazing community on Patreon at patreon.com/2blackgirls1rose.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram at Dateable Podcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.